Here we'll do an example of where we add a set of fractions. Now, unlike multiplication, we cannot add these fractions as it is. Before we try to add or subtract any fractions, we must find the least common denominator. You'll hear me call the least common denominator the LCD often. We're going to have to find what the LCD is by examining the denominators. Now, notice the third term in this sequence does not have a denominator. It's a whole number. If you have a whole number, you can begin by placing that whole number over the number 1. This is another instance of the invisible 1 in action. So we'll put a division bar and we'll write the invisible 1 underneath it. Now let's examine our denominator. Our first denominator, x plus 4, is a binomial. Our next denominator, 7, is a monomial. And of course, the number 1 is also a monomial. If you're dealing with both monomials and binomials, the easiest way to get a common denominator is to multiply all of the terms together. We'll try that here and say that our LCD will be the monomial, 7, times the monomial 1, times the binomial, x plus 4. 7 times 1 is, of course, 7, and we didn't really have to write the 1 because we know that already. But we'll say our LCD here is 7 times x plus 4. Now that we have our LCD, let's compare each denominator to the LCD and see what's missing. Our first term has a binomial x plus 4. Notice that that x plus 4 is a part of the LCD, but in order to make the first fraction look like the LCD, we're going to need a 7. For that reason, what we'll do is multiply both the top and bottom of that fraction by the 7. We'll write that out now. We will say x over x plus 4, and then say times 7 to both the top and the bottom. We'll put a plus sign and move on to the next term. Our second term says 3 over 7. That first term has the monomial that we need, that's 7, but it still needs the binomial x plus 4. Therefore, we will multiply the top and the bottom by x plus 4. We write our 3 over 7, and we multiply x plus 4 on the top and bottom. Then we'll say plus our 2 over 1. That third term doesn't have the monomial 7, and it also does not have the binomial x plus 4. Therefore, it will need both terms. We will put 7 times x plus 4 on the top and the bottom. So we'll multiply 1 times 7 times x plus 4 and do the same on top. Now that we have our least common denominator on all three terms, we can begin simplifying. Our first term will be just the 7x. There's really no simplifying we can do there, and that part's okay. We'll begin by writing 7x. Our second term has a monomial 3 times a binomial x plus 4, and we will distribute. Our third term has 2 times 7 times x plus 4. We can identify that 2 times 7 is just the same thing as 14. And we'll take that 14 times x plus 4, and so we'll distribute again. 14 times x is 14x, and 14 times 4 is 56. All of these terms will be over the LCD, and that's 7 times x plus 4. Notice that we only write the denominator once underneath all of our simplified terms. So we're putting all of the terms we came up with on the top, and on the bottom we just write LCD. So it's important to realize we are not adding together 7 times x plus 4 multiple times. We're only writing it one time. This is because we've already done all the work we need to with the denominator. Now we just deal with whatever is on top. Now we're going to look for like terms that have the same degree of x on the top. If we examine the top side, we'll have 7x and 3x and 14x. And so we add those together. 7 plus 3 plus 14 makes 24x. Also, we have some constant terms, 12 and 56. If we add them together, we'll get 68. That will be our entire numerator, and on the bottom we will have 7 times x plus 4. And so now we have successfully added these fractions. We started with 3 fractions at the beginning, and now we have only 1. And so that's all we'll need to do to have successfully added the fractions together.